Welcome, and those of you who are guests, whether you're first time online or here for the first time, I'll just let you know that our standard routine, generally speaking, is to ask everybody what they would like me to talk about, not because I don't care and I didn't plan or prepare, but so that everybody realizes that they participate. And by the way, I don't actually need to ask you. I have a pretty good sense of, it just all flows and ties together. I ask you for you to participate. See what I'm saying? I don't need you to tell me. It will be revealed to me, but I ask you so that you step up and own your participation. What do you want me to talk about today?
How about the New Jerusalem?
New Jerusalem. Yes?
Broken promises.
Guys, huh? She asked for broken promises. What is it?
The magic of letting go of fear, even in little things, or a miracle from letting go of fear.
Love.
What did you say over there earlier?
Following Spirit's guidance with faith. Divine law versus man-made law.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
The tree of life.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Twin souls.
No, we're good. Thank you. Okay, thank you. So for the folks watching online, the requests were ranging from New Jerusalem to synergy, broken promises, letting go of fear, and so on and so on. Divine law versus man-made law and so on. So these we weave together, and I don't ask gratuitously and then, ignore what you've asked. Actually, what happens is we try to weave together all these topics. One of the fascinating and beautiful things about that isn't just so that people could go, wow, he covered so many eclectic topics. It's instead to show you how all of them can be woven into one. That's more important. Even when we try to study eclectically in this world, it's a way of keeping everything horizontal. Mastery is about going vertical, not horizontal. Wow, look at all the topics he covered. That can be impressive to people, because I'll talk about anything and we'll nail it. Okay, anything, atomic particles to the end of the world, whatever you want to do, but they're still horizontal topics until someone does this and weaves them together. But that's what we all have to do in our lives. Well, I've had relationships, but how do you weave them into, and I learned this and I've become this? Let me tell you about all my relationships. Well, that's nice, thank you. Because that's, like therapy for you. Let's talk about all your past and then weaving it into, and here's what I learned and here's what I've become. That's mastery. See the difference? Yeah. Tell me all of your brilliant topics you've studied on this planet. That's nice. All the varieties of botany and enjoy. That's, wow, look, aren't you amazing? Weave them into something. Talk about how all the botanical conversations, all foliage is really the hair and etheric body of planet Earth. Yeah, you see? Immediately, well, wait, what? And they are the etheric body of the Earth Mother. And you have an etheric body, therefore your etheric body works in symbiotic relationship with the Earth's etheric body. She also has an emotional body called the animal kingdom. And then off you go. Tying things together, right? Bringing it together. One of the things that we get very confused about when we want to deal with relationship issues and we want to deal with planet Earth, it's people get really excited at some point. Hey, I've talked about stuff for a while, but I'm hearing about law of attraction. I'm hearing about creating a new life, and that gets very exciting. But then they want to do that like overnight, which means that their whole notion of recreating a new life is an addiction. I want overnight stimulus. So now you've turned your spiritual path into an addiction. I want something cool. I want something stimulating now. You know, that's like never having meditated and going, okay, well, and closing your eyes for the first time. Well, I'm supposed to see purple or something, right? You know, one of the biggest root awakenings when you learn to get on the spiritual path is that you, as the 60s song says, you know, close your eyes, turn on, turn in, turn your eyes around. You know, you have to look within. And that's really a drag. Because you would think that once you learn to look within, pretty colors and acid trip kind of effects. No. You get past that, you're still going to have to find you. And if you liked you, you wouldn't have been looking out in the first place. We're all outer oriented because we don't like inner. Nobody wants to believe that, of course. Oh no, I love myself. Really? Then tell me all about your real self. And then if you're going to tell me about your real self, there's the wounded self. That's not your real self. That's just another layer of yourself. Because as soon as you start talking about your wounded self, guess what? You're going to start talking about everybody that wounded you. That's outers and others. Where are you in this conversation? Well, you know, you're really kind of rude. I'm really not happy with the way you're talking to me right now. Anyway, my advice when you want to change your life, my advice when you want to shift from outer orientation, when you want to shift from many horizontal topics to a vertical topic, connectedness with spirit, it's to learn instead of quick fix, we learn to assemble a new life, especially through integration. Not, what do you want? I want this. Okay, let's manifest it. Now you go to one of those seminars that cost you $8,000 in some large hotel somewhere in Atlanta or wherever. And you know, everybody sits around going, what would you like? Anybody want to share? You know, I want a new car. Let's all tell. I'm ready. I'm going to create that new car. And you get them a new car, but they're still jerks. They haven't changed their being. They haven't changed anything. They just manifested a new car. That's not integration. We come from broken selves, and you can still talk louder. A broken drill sergeant doesn't mean because he gets people to stand in line and yells at them that it's like, wow, what a master. They're still broken. So you can't yell at yourself and command that you manifest a new car and think that you're evolving. We learn about ourselves. First, we have the reactions of life. I'm broken, and then, no, I'm not broken. I'm going to be a CEO, and you prove everybody wrong. But you haven't. You're still broken. You just manipulated matter. It's like a magic trick. You look shinier. We see now that your rings have gone from one type to gold. We know that you've gone from a Timex to a Rolex. We know that your suits are cashmere or whatever is they make suits out of. You know, we understand that your stuff's cool looking and that your car, that somebody pulls it up to the hotel instead of you hiking to the 4th, 6th, 8th floor of a parkade looking for your car. Where's my car? You know, waiting for it to beep back. You know, instead they pull it up at the front of the hotel. And you know what I mean? We know you've arrived, but you're still broken. You're still a broken person. It just looks better. So people have to recognize there's the quick fix, which means you've put on a new suit and now you're successful. It's not real. You want to change your life, you have to do something different, which is, first of all, who are you? Who's the one that wants to change their life? Well, I'm really broken and I'm coming from a broken life and so I'm trying to compensate. That's not God yet. So you have to go from there's a broken self. Then there's I'm going to now get on the path and I'm going to do what's called, I'm going to find myself, which is cool, but you're not going to do it. It's not going to work. You're going to find other parts of yourself. But when you say find yourself, who's the you that you're trying to find? Just a more successful person? Well, good. So say I went to a program to find my more successful self. Finding yourself, capital S self, means God. And you can't do that without God. Go to seminars, read books, do processes and so on and get certificates. It's still compensatory. I have to realize there's a broken self. Then I find myself. Then I need to lose myself. And then who's the self now that's waiting? One more. God. Yeah. And it's all kind of funny and kind of ironic in a sense, because all the doings add up to nothing other than lessons. So I did this, and I had the broken self. I survived. I did survival. Then I found myself. So I went out and did finding myself, only to realize that I still had to go through a Saturn return or a dark night of the soul, which broke me down to where I had to give up myself. Well, wow. Do you know how much I spent on finding myself? And now I've got to lose myself? You know, which is a great test in trusting God, let me say, you know. However, it's like, okay, I'm going to go through ignorance, finding myself, losing myself, and then surrendering. God, you know, I'm probably the only one on the planet that has gone through this. Spent so much time and money. I married others to find myself. Well, clearly now my family will like me. Now that I've given them grandchildren. No, they're just going to invite the grandchildren over without you. You know, the lessons are still going to be there. So if you don't know, I mean, the bottom line is, if you're trying to manifest a new life, a new self, you're still doing. So you can't just quick fix. I know they say it, and I know you've done it, and it's exciting. Some new thing, whether it's a, soul journeying, a ayahuasca trip, or whether it's an empowerment seminar, a raise in prosperity. I understand all that. It still has to do with doing. Because you're still trying to apply and make things manifest. That word, man's infestations, manifesting. There's a point where you surrender and say, man, I've done it all. And maybe you've only done some things. That's great. You saved a lot of money so far. But here's the thing. If I don't know who I am, all of it is still in vain. All of it is still like the great Solomon explaining. He says, everything's in vain. Why was he saying that? He's saying, no matter what you can accomplish in this world, it doesn't guarantee you this thing you're really looking for, which is your real self, which comes from asking God. The humility. There is a divine mother, and she has to birth us into our remembrance. It isn't from you. It isn't from teachers and books. The mother, if you call on her, will come through the teachers and books. But if you don't call on her, all you're doing is increasing your reading. There's a difference. You can read A Course in Miracles from your head. You can also do it from the Holy Spirit. You can apply Buddhism from your head, which most people do, especially in the Western world. Or it can be authentic. So how do we get authentic? Day-to-day integration of what you've learned from unhealthy experiences that brought you into a new self. Don't go and thank unhealthy experiences like some teachers tell you. Think that you got something out of it. So you're integrating and you're assembling a new life. See? But what does that mean? Assemble a new... Eclectic? No. I'm talking about when you know who you are, you know what it is you want to draw in and apply to yourself. If I don't know who I am, I'm eclectically grabbing everything, which is addictive personality. I got to do this. I got to do, ooh, did you hear about this? Oh, there's a CD that'll make me enlightened. Oh, there's an herbal formula that activates my third eye, etc., etc. Got to go to Sedona. All of it. They're all in vain. They're all garbage unless you're coming to them from the right mindset. You see? There's intention and there's invention. Most people that set intentions are just setting inventions. One more thing. Hey, did you hear? If only, you stand on one foot when you meditate. Oh, that's what I didn't do right. Now you're, looking like a stork in your living room, and your kids are like, Mom, what are you doing? Oh, it's a stork meditation technique, honey. This will make, me enlightened. Well, we don't know. You still burn our food all the time. So It isn't changing anything, you know? Maybe stand on both feet, get grounded and hear ding when the toaster's, you know? Sorry. So, if I'm in my I don't know who I am, guess what? The world's going to mirror it. If I get into the I'm finding myself, the world's going to reflect it, right? And that sounds good. It's better than not knowing who I am. I'm on the self-help routine. I'm into self-discovery. The world's going to reflect it. Still, it's good. But then when you realize, and I'm still doing, and I'm still doing, and I'm still, at some point you're going to go, I'm getting suspicious. Because all the great things that the world is mirroring to me, I'm becoming more prosperous, I'm becoming this and that and the other, you know, and I wear different clothes and so on. Wow, I'm more spiritual. You still find it isn't paying off the way you had hoped. So then, surrender. And now you lose yourself. And in that, you're starting to go, wow, that's what it was always about. Emptying. Now I'm into nothing. I don't do this and I don't do that. I don't read anymore. And, you know, and that's actually beautiful, but you're still not done. The surrender leads to something. Surrender is not the end of the story, even though a lot of meditators think, oh no, absolute surrender. Oh, something's entering my mind. I need empty. And they live a life of empty mind. That's not the goal. God mind is the goal, you see. But I have to empty myself of all my opinions first. But what I'm saying is each stage will mirror its kind. If I'm in the losing myself, the world will mirror it. If I'm into attracting stuff to manifest a better life, it's going to mirror that. But when I get to plugging into God, that final stage, the world will mirror that. So the world's going to manifest or mirror each of our stages. Whose stages? Ours. Why are they mirroring them? Because God wants them to. No. It's just mirroring perfectly ourselves. There's so many teachings about the Divine Mother hidden in Scripture, Old Testament and New, and in mythologies and teachings throughout the universe. For example, the concept of the mother saying in Proverbs, for example, the mother's teaching us saying, the Father created me, and then I created everything else. In Taoism, everything starts with the Tao, becomes two, becomes three, becomes seven, several, becomes many thousands of things. The Tao is describing everything started with God the Creator. The mother, or in mythology, then there was Nyx or darkness. Well, all that was the womb of the mother being created. And then into the womb, all things were created. That's what she does. She births. So everything, but she's birthing our thoughts and beliefs. If I know that who I am, she mirrors that. If I don't, she mirrors that. And she's saying throughout Proverbs and other books of the Bible and mythologies and other things, I'm here only to mirror objectively, lovingly to you what you're believing about yourself. So if I believe that I'm broken, and so it is. Self-help, self-discovery, and so it is. Losing oneself, and so it is. Finding God, and so it is. So this is all leading somewhere, but it feels sometimes exhausting because we don't realize where we are in this chart. So we think each one of these we're achieving something, but then like just partying and not really getting it together because I'm a broken, lost self, that feels fun for a while too. But eventually you reach bottom. Is that bad? Were you evil? No. You are lost and your symptoms matched. Self-discovery, you're self-discovering and the symptoms match. If you think about it, it all lines up properly. But that point, that fourth one I'm describing, is like a knowing. I know who I am, but if I'm thinking Michael knows, then I'm still in self-discovery mode, right? Because I'm speaking. Instead, it's I don't know. Oh, well, that's not very powerful. You're one of those people that I don't know. Well, I do know because I went to a seminar and it told me what I know. And you, poor Michael, you're in the I don't know. Oh, man, that's way down there. You're in the I think I know. See, that person that's bragging, they're into the I think I know. And they're going to be mirroring it to themselves as manifestors. Man's infestation. More corruption in the world from an ego-based mind. When we say I'm into the I don't know, the last shall be first and the first shall be last. When I say I don't know, I don't know doesn't mean I'm going to empty my cup and make sure it stays empty. It means I'm going to empty my cup and receive God. You have a goal here. And there's people that'll tell you, oh, I don't believe in having goals. I'm in the empty mind. And they, it's all superior. And it's like, just say, yeah, you're right. I'm totally messed up. And walk away. Just, it's okay. Walk away. Bless their heart. No. Just walk away. And guys, you know what? That's where they need to be right now. Whether it's an arrogant, empty mind, whether it's a broken self. We're all in this together. You've been here, you've been there, you've jumped up, you jumped down. It's okay. Everybody to each his own. But the idea is assemble a new life by learning from the things that weren't so great. You choose what to learn from them and assemble them in your vertical self. Also give thanks for the gifts of the good things you chose. Don't just learn from the negatives, also give thanks for the positives. At the end of the day, I give thanks for both. I thank what I learned from that, and I thank what I was gifted from that. Thank you. That's what it means to live in gratitude. It doesn't actually mean just don't forget to give thanks for that car or it'll go away. You're sleeping and the car's like, I haven't heard you give thanks once for me entering your life. I'm gone. I'm gone. And then some criminals are walking down the street, and they're like, what was that? A car that we should steal. And your car's gone. And then you're like, how could this happen? I went to a seminar on man's infestations, When you come to realize the most evil thing in your life, the most blessed things, they're all part of our mind, part of our belief systems. Jesus could cast out demons not because he said, I have bigger muscles, I can out wrestle a demon. It's because he knew they were worthless, they were valueless, they weren't real. Hatred is not real. Stop reacting to it. Now that seems impractical in a violent world. You can go ahead and deal with the violent world the way you need in a given moment, but in your mind, know the truth, that this has no real power over you. How could it? Nothing can oppose God, and I'm made in God's image. But for now, God's image is only an image, a hope. There'll be a point where the scripture would change. Man was made in God's image to man is God. See, there's no image, there's no second level. It's just, and I get it. But you can't reach the memory of the God self without owning the not so godly self. You can't fight those things and say, I'm going to be enlightened as soon as I defeat addiction. It's I am God working on the addiction. See, really, 12 steps, when they're asking you to incorporate a connection to God in the work, that's on the doing level. But there's a point where, and I am a part of God. It isn't God keep me from addiction, is in my God self, I only know sobriety. See, I'm not fighting drinking or whatever it might be. I am as God, and God wouldn't have any problem with that, right? Judging yourself for addiction isn't what God would do. So it's really, when you really get to the higher level of all these kinds of programs, you're not begging God to help you fight an evil, which is a good place to start. There's a point where you realize, what is that thing but a doubt in me? People don't realize how much we sabotage our life. I'm into self-help, but it's only going to last so long, and then you're going to be bored or frustrated that I'm into self-help, but I don't feel any more enlightened. I don't feel any more at peace. I can totally feel connected with the trees. Oh my God, and I went doom, doom, doom up on the mountains, and when I did that, I could see angels and beings and ancestors. There was a fire lit up on the top of the mountain. I was the only one there, but I could see all these elders singing and chanting and all this oneness. Damned if on my way down from the mountain, I ran into my mother-in-law. And oh my God, I didn't make it down from the mountain. And it's like, that evil person ruined my meditation. No, she brought you an opportunity to apply what you got in meditation. Because if you don't apply it, you can't integrate it. If you don't integrate it, you can't become it. It's all just talk. So we sabotage, sabot, right? French or Belgian, in Belgium they also use this concept, but the sabot, the wooden shoes you see in the Belgian paintings and so forth, sabot. So sabotage means to take your wooden clogs and throw them in the machinery when people were trying to rebel and at work and say, we want rights. And so they weren't given, so the government was like, we'll just hire people from out of the area. So they went, well, we're going to think of something, You know what wouldn't go very well in this machinery? Wooden clogs. So they threw their sabot into the machinery. Sabotage. And sabotage, you do not sabotage things out of good-heartedness. You know why we sabotage? Anger. Hurt, it's always hurt and anger. So when you sabotage your life, what you're really doing is called, forgive me, man, self-loathing. You can't tell me it's self-worth, because that's the opposite. No, I think self-worth made me sabotage. And what do I mean by sabotage your life? Guys, anytime you do something that is not congruent with love and self-worth, you're going to sabotage. You're going to get back at yourself for not living congruently. You, not God. We used to call it God, and then we grew and started calling it karma. It's always something outside of ourselves. Well, it was karma. It was God. It was, curses. It was genetic. One of you is asking about ancestral healing, for example. Is always something. But do you notice how you don't say I when you talk about it? You can say my ancestors, my genetics, my I. Where's the I in this? The I am. Do not take the Lord thy name, God's thine in vain. Do not take God's name in vain. And you are when you say, I am anything other than holy, loving, peaceful. You can say, this is how I feel. But there's a difference between I am versus I feel. If you're really going to use I am, don't put garbage to it, because that's using God's name in vain. You see? Speak I am when you're saying something holy. And we all slip. I am frustrated. Don't judge yourself over it. Like, that's not going to help. Oh my God, now I am going to be cursed for that. I'm still struggling is true. How do I know that? Because it feels that way. Am I affirming it? No. So if you slip and say I am, just remember I am feeling this way. There's a difference between a feeling and a fact. The truth of God. So we sabotage, and it's self-loathing. So I'm saying to you, when you know you are plugged into God, and God is love, therefore, so should your life reflect love, and you say, you know what? This one conversation, this one family member, every time they call, I can react from my broken self, or I can apply my self-help stuff. Oh, yes, and nonviolent communication techniques and whatever, and they still come at you, and you're like, okay, I'm going to throw that out. You can empty yourself and just vent away, brother, and let them just vent. All of these things are going to run, just run you into the ground. At some point, any reaction I have, when I know it's not congruent with who I truly am, I'm going to throw in sabotage. Anytime you are staying in a relationship that you know isn't right for you, I'm telling you, it's only a matter of time. The clogs are going into the machinery. There's just a point where you say, you want me to clean what? Reach for the clogs. You want me to clean up after you? You want dinner by when? Clog time. No, I will not cook. I will not cook. But being a loving person, I will give you one of the, business cards for Domino's, That's, my support will be that limit right there. But when you guys, when we've been intimate with people that we shouldn't be intimate with, it comes back on us. Karma, it's God, it's a curse, it's family. It's a knowing that isn't being lived. I know that it should feel like this and it doesn't. But I do it anyway. Why? Well, because I've been married and this is my job as a married partner. Oh, because they're my kids and so forever I have to be their mom. Yeah, but they're 85. At some point you just say, they're human beings. Oh, no, they're my children. Ah, I see. You're sabotaging yourself. Your own negative, limited statements are forms of self-sabotage. And they're going to be mirrored too. When you're off in here, it's going to be off out here. And it's going to happen to everybody. Jesus had a Judas. Jesus had a denier, a betrayer, and so on. But he didn't see them as that. The reason, one of the main reasons he becomes the Christ is his ability to stand in the cycle of life and not buy into it, which he attained in his previous lifetime as Siddhartha. Boom, and he nails it. He comes back and has to live it as the Christ from birth to death, not get it when he was 30. He lives it from birth to death and then ascension. Because now it's, I get it. I completely live it. Jesus, for all the other reasons we recognize his ability to awaken into the divine self, the Christ self, which we all have within us. That ability to say, you can bring anything here, and I don't see it as separate from myself. I see them as things that I disperse. And how could he do that without the mother birthing in him faith, birthing in him Christ consciousness? Jesus didn't just become the Christ, it was birthed in him by his mother. How? Because she refused to see anything other than his divinity. I know Jesus gets the kudos for becoming the Christ, and rightfully so. But his mother, in her seemingly passive way, held the space for it. You see, if she would have waffled, it would have, in her mind connection with him, it would have tempted him to waffle more. She held space. You can be up on a cross, and I could be crying that my son is being murdered, but I know somehow, despite what I see, you're still the Christ. I don't know how this is going to work out. This is all very strange. This is not what I imagined when I gave birth and the angels were heard through the ethers. This is the real deal. I'm paraphrasing. Peace unto earth and goodwill to mankind. When she heard it, and people all around the world, people in China, South America, heard something. Did you hear that? Because something was so profoundly happening. All around the world means what? All around our minds. Every mind in existence went, what was that? Even if they didn't know or figure out what it was. Because we're all connected. You can't birth the Christ and it not be felt throughout the entire universe. All beings everywhere went, what was that? And Mary, being one of them, was, of course, in a state of awe. I know what's happening. I know. Not think, not self-sabotage. I know. But that knowing can be murdered through our own self-sabotage and doubts and not living congruently. So she says, I know. And then she watches him. He's gone years and years. Her human, ancestral programming, cultural programming, maternal programming is, that's my son. He's supposed to show up once in a while. And he's spending more time gone. And he doesn't bother explaining himself. Mom, would it be okay if I go out and learn and study and share with the world? No. You're going to be right here. Rub your mother's feet while she watches her soaps. No. And so she has to tolerate all of my agendas, like the sea for Moses and the Israelites, parts. All of my little agendas. I have my son, he's my first son, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Nope. All of my realities. That's the emptying. Remember, I talked about the stages? She's gone to the stage of, I get it, to the stage of emptying oneself, losing oneself. I thought we were going to have a real cool thing happening here. My son, and he was going to do this and profound. And I don't know. There goes the sea parted. I don't know. Look at your hands when you part like the sea. I don't know. Well, he's going to do, I thought, but I don't know, apparently. And in that I don't know, God descends into our being and says, I do. Because I am. And that I am becomes integrated into Mother Mary, or you and me. I am. I know because I am. That's a knowingness of God. It's not a theory or speculation. It's, I get it. And here's what she affirmed. She affirmed, I know that despite the way things look, he is the Christ. He's the full embodiment of the Christ. And then a temptation comes in to see otherwise. Nope. People don't like him. I thought if my son was the Christ, everybody's going to like him. Everybody's going to be like, yes, Mary, wow. How'd you pull that one off? My son's nothing like him. You know? Or when he had siblings, right? Later on. James and Jude and Ruth, his siblings, you know. I always imagine, why can't you be more like your brother? Because he's the Christ. For Christ's sake, you know. How do you compete with that? I'm a Heisman Trophy winner, you know. Yeah, but your brother's the Christ. Right? My children get straight A's. Yeah, I know. But your brother's the Christ. You can't go anywhere with that. So the Divine Mother isn't a story about Mother Mary because she's embodied in Mary. She's in all of us. Your children are awaiting the Divine Mother in you, men and women. They're all waiting for us to hold a perfect image of them, that no matter what they do, somehow they are the Christ. As is your boss who won't give you a raise, the person who cut you off on the road today, they're all testing you. That's all that's happening. In them, there's a spirit spark called the Christ, made in God's image on the inside. On the outside, they're like, flipping you off and rude and, cut in line. And they're all tests. Mother Mary was tested and Jesus was tested. And Jesus didn't choose to say, Judas, my brother, how could you dare do this to me? He couldn't slip into seeing it that way, which is why he didn't guilt him. Instead, he tells his apostles, more or less, you're going to go through a lot of doubt and fear, but don't worry about it. You're going to get through it. Oh, well, we would never, because, we're apostles. We've seen you raise people from the dead. That's going to carry us. No. It will not. Oh, yes, it will. No, it won't. Talk to the hand. Talk to the hand. Because Jesus knew you are humans, as I am himself, and I've been there. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Meaning, my heart knows something here, but my human self, driven, hijacked by my ego, doubts and fears. Can you help me with this? Yes, I can. Call on me. When he says call on me, it's not just, Jesus. It's you're calling on the Christ. When you call on Jesus, the Christ, you're calling on the Christ within yourself as well. Jesus would never say, keep looking at an image of me if you want to know the Christ. Every time you look to me, I'm automatically awakening it in you because we're not separate. He doesn't have to go and trigger special genetic codes. When you reach out to the Christ in Jesus, your codes are already starting to activate. The Christ in you is already starting to activate. There are parts within every cell in existence, and that includes your genetics. There is a hidden part in your genes that is the Christ self. It's the light within the gene, but it has to be activated. How? Well, there's this herbal formula for $19.95 that I can sell you. No, that's what it meant by when you hear people say, there's the Christ and here's the Christ. Don't listen to them. That's what that means in Scripture. For this little something, no, don't listen. It's by asking the mother to birth this in you. You know, I have children and they're doing this and I'm tempted to see this, but always own what you're tempted to see, but always throw in the rest of the sentence, which is, but show me how you would see them. You have to activate that divinity. You have to ask the mother to step in. The whole concept of call on Jesus, that's right. But it isn't Jesus that saves you. It's Jesus that introduces you to your saved self. Isn't that cool? Yes. It has to be that way. No. It's Jesus, historic. He's going to show up again on earth and say, you people are messed up and I'm going to fix you all. Then why didn't he do that the first time? He's waiting. He activated it 2,000 years ago. He's letting it simmer. He's letting it just bake and integrate. That the second coming is about coming to claim. You know those marked with 144,000 that are chosen of God? It's a symbol of mankind that has in them already activated the Christ self. The second coming is us accepting what he activated 2,000 years ago. But it doesn't work if you continue judging and sabotaging. When you judge another person, you're sabotaging yourself. And self-sabotage comes from self-loathing. You didn't get tricked into sabotaging your life. But I didn't know I was doing it. I got conned in some sort of financial scheme and I lost all my... I get that. I'm sorry. There are hurtful people that do those things. But at the same time, God, Christ self, can't be fooled like that. Again, references of the mother in Scripture talk about, she's synonymous with wisdom. If you awaken wisdom, which is the mother, the divine mother, if you call upon wisdom, Sophia, the divine mother, she'll guide you in decision-making and investments to do and not do and so on. But we block God out so that we can think we're ingenious by coming up with our own schemes. No, I don't need you on this one, God, because this is a definite great thing. You know, but I'm spiritual. I'm too spiritual to be fooled by, schemes and con games out there in the world. This one's called a pyramid. And a pyramid, we all know those are cosmic. They're in Egypt. So this has to be good. Right? Oh no, their logo for this scheme is purple and gold. That for sure means it's all divine colors. It's a sign from God. God's like, oh, me. You guys still get fooled by that? It's self-sabotage. Listen, I would not be drawn into, seemingly accidentally or on purpose, consciously or unconsciously, I would not be drawn into relationships or staying in relationships that are not congruent with peace, love, wholeness, unless I had some amount of self-loathing. That's what it is. I know that's hard to kind of accept, but it isn't self-worth that made you go there. Oh, look, a full-blown addict in denial whose tendency is also violence. I think I can change them. That is not God going, there's love, there's peace, there's joy. You can't become even a rescuer that sounds like they have good intentions. This whole thing about intentions, it's inventions. Intentions are bogus. You know what they say? That the road to hell is paved with good intentions. That's not actually true. They're not good intentions because you can set good intentions and that wouldn't be unhealthy. You know what's unhealthy? Seemingly good intentions. Seemingly good intentions means you still have agendas. So I can set, my best intentions were to meet this person. I thought they could change. So my intentions, here the tears come to show what a victim I am. But wait a minute. What in you said that resonates with love? When they have 5 restraining orders. Let me see. I don't know why, but that resonates with love and self-worth. No, it doesn't. I'm not saying judge them and hate them. I'm saying what makes you go, whoa, that looks good. What did that? Self-loathing. And you can be mega spiritual and still have this seed of self-loathing. Why? Because it's a temptation of the ego to say, you think you're evolving, don't you? You think you're almost there, don't you? I'm going to find some little seed of naughty, something just freaky in you. You're all spiritual and everything's cool, but all I have to do is, because you're so spiritual, all I have to do is dress up that person in the right color, and you're getting, wow, your eyes still fool you. The words you hear when they say, hey man, I'm like totally into yoga. I'm finishing yoga teacher training. You're like, wow. If they're into yoga, it's definitely a good thing. No. It just means they've gone through more training on flying in under the radar. That's it. They're just greater specialists at that game. Come on. The bottom line is, be aware of who you are. Be aware of what that means. God, love, peace, joy. This is who I am. This is what I choose to create from. Not manifest, not make, not false intentions, seemingly good intentions paving my road to hell. Instead, there's a knowing. And I'm going to slip, but when I slip, my knowing calls me back to forgive myself. There's a knowing, and it feels interdependent. It feels kind of complete. So it isn't going to be that they do yoga or they wear purple that makes me say, wow, this person's perfect. It isn't going to be because your astrological thing said you're going to meet the right person this week. You always meet the right person. Every morning you wake up and look in the mirror. But are you feeling it? Are you knowing it? I feel complete. Do I still choose to dance? Can you still have dinner? Yes. Feeling whole can still be dinner, but you're not going to eat things that sabotage your body. Oh, I have to have this. And I'm so spiritual now, I'm sure I'm no longer allergic to gluten. And then you're like, oh my God. Guys, just own it and laugh at it. It's okay. I know who I am, and the rest of me is catching up to that. But it can't if I keep sabotaging, because I'm going to hold a lot of guilt and shame when I sabotage myself. Because I know deep down, there's a part of me that wants this, and there's a part of me that wants this. This is the knowing, and this is this world. You got that? But look what shape it makes. So you are crucified by your own inner conflict. You are crucified with that which on some level you know. You know you don't need anyone. You know you don't need to even eat. But then there's the guilt of still doing so. And what's worse is eating foods that still hurt you, that don't resonate. You don't have to force yourself to be vegetarian to be spiritual. It's, are you a vegetarian? And you sit and go, yeah. And then now it's authentic. You see what I mean by that? One time, Paul McCartney was sitting at his farm in Scotland, and he loved living organically and living, the farm and all that, but they still ate the animals they raised. And he said one day he and his wife were sitting in the kitchen, looked out the window, and they were talking about how cute the animals were and how much they loved them. And they both simultaneously kind of went, and we're eating them. Now, that doesn't mean it's bad. They decided that's not us. And they became, right, advocates of organic living. And some people are like, yeah, but she got sick and died. I promise you, something's going to kill you, okay? So don't diss their vegetarianism as though that caused her illness. How do you know she didn't live an extra 10 years because of being a vegetarian? I don't want to hear it. What's important is they followed what they knew to be right for them. And I'm not telling you meat eaters are off. I'm saying, are you being true to yourself? Someone out there, it's just right. It's like, I need some raw steak right now, and that's what they need. Like, give it to them or they're going to eat you. Some people are just so carnivorous in their thinking, you got to throw them a steak. Feed them quick, They're not going to be like, oh, kale. That'll hold me over. Throw them a steak. But you know what? Haven't you noticed on your path that there are days where no food seems like it's going to do it for you? No food. And you're like, well, I'm going to eat this. But it doesn't land. Like it doesn't feel like, wow, that would quench something. You start to see through it. But it happens with relationships, romance, jobs. You start to feel a certain, nothing's hooking me. What's that a sign of? Remember? Empty mind. You're getting to that place where you ate horribly. You got all into good eating. That's that second, right? And then now you didn't know it, but you're starting to get to that third stage of nothing is working anymore. Right? Nothing. It starts to disappear. That doesn't mean you're done, and it doesn't mean it's good or bad. It's just a natural stage. What's going to happen next is, I don't know, but God, you show me. What are you saying? So, Michael, you're going to, muscle test and say, God wants me to eat this instead of that? No. God doesn't eat food. God doesn't actually push a particular diet. God's just saying, relax. What would you like today? Not food. What would you like to be today? What's a word that describes how you want to be today? Anybody?
Happy.
Happy. Okay, great. Bliss. Great. So now God's going to say, step into your bliss, which is your right as a divine being. Divine bliss, bliss. Now, what food's going to make you blissful? Nothing can make you anything when you're in God. That's a lie again. What you can say is what resonates with this. See, not what person makes me, because that's stimulation. It's what resonates when I sit in my bliss, what resonates. And for me, Michael, I struggle with it at times because it's like sometimes I can't think of anything to eat. Nothing just does it. So, seriously, I'll go to the refrigerator and stand there. And mine's it's empty anyway. It is. It is. I have a drawer that's filled with always 8 big tubs of butter. But I have almost nothing in my fridge. So I stand there and look and I'll go, oh, and then I'll take a bite of a $100,000 bar. And then I'll go and work again. Then I'll come and wait. And I'll go back again and I'll have a couple crackers. That would, see, I don't go, it's time for a 5-course meal. Quantity like that doesn't do it. It's not me. The car you drive it's a resonance. Don't go and get the car that impresses the neighbors. Get one that resonates with how you feel and how you want to feel. Where are you at? What kind of a person are you? I'm a pacifist, and you show up with one of those SUVs with the tires, this stuff, driving over your neighbor's yards. It doesn't make sense. You're a pacifist. It's incongruent, and you will sabotage and pay for that because you're off. It needs to resonate. There are certain kinds of people, believe it or not, that own certain kinds of cars, and they don't know that that's so. They know in marketing they want to demographic women or men or 30 plus, or they know demographic intellectual stuff. They don't realize it's also soul archetypes. There's a type of person that has a yard that has room for vegetation, and others not. Just make sure your house, your home, your life, your relationships resonate not with the broken self, not with the I'm fixing myself, although that's better than the broken self. Now you find somebody that kind of is into the same thing somewhat, not just broken partying. Now I'm looking for somebody that's, wanting to do some yoga and go for walks. I think that's pretty cool. But someday you're going to find emptiness. Still, despite best intentions, it's, empty self. And then there's something waiting for you. If all you can do is the second of these, and I'm afraid of emptying myself. Now that I manifested a co-yoga partner, and we do breath work together, and we light prosperity candles on my altar, I don't want to lose that. Honor yourself. Okay? Honor that. And give thanks because you've moved from the broken, partying only and shallow living. It's good, but you're not home yet. Still, the universe is going to every so often say, would you like to? No. Oh, I'm going to with my partner. We're going to climb the red rocks and we're going to, I think that's cool. But she's going to ask you, the Divine Mother, every so often, are you ready? No. Something's going to happen to where you say, yes, I'm going to lose myself. And I don't know what that looks like or means, but unconditionally catch me. I'm going to lose myself. Despite the partnership that was cool, integrate. Remember, integrate what you learned in the first relation level, which is not knowing who you are, manifesting weird stuff, partying and just, right, unhealthy living. Give thanks for what you learned from that. But what did I say about the second stage? The stuff where it starts to go well, give thanks for the gifts that came from you improving your life. You get that? Give thanks, give thanks. With that in mind, a state of gratitude, all these things get peeled off, and because you're truly in an unconditional state of gratitude, you drop into the abyss and the mother will catch you. The other was you catching yourself a little. Here, the mother catches you. She said, wow, you surrendered to devastation. You surrendered to obliteration. Very courageous. Not a negative type of obliteration, but it means any that I was, I surrender so that I can find that which I am. And then something just lands in your heart and soul. Something lands that's like, oh my God. And it's going to be that third stage of obliteration is I don't know what to eat anymore. I don't know do I still have intimacy? I don't know. My friendships, which ones? I don't know. You see, the I don't know, that's that third stage, which is weird because when you're at the second stage, you feel so cool that you can't imagine ever giving up and saying, I don't know. I do know. These are my favorite books. I go to my yoga class every Tuesday. You know, you name it all, so it sounds so rational. Going to the third, I don't know, doesn't make sense. But you're going to go there the easy way or the hard way. Everybody goes there because we have to empty ourselves. And then in that empty vessel comes the filling from God. And God doesn't say, well, now that you're part of me, you're never going to eat, you're never going to dance. No. It just says, have you cleansed yourself? Yes, 70%. Well, that's how much room you made for something new, 70%. Have you cleansed yourself? Yes, 30%. That's all you made room for. That's what you're going to get, a new self. And we go through this cyclically to a degree, but to a degree, it's also a major shift in our spiritual growth, our spiritual lives. Something major changes in our being. And as I'm going to start closing, you mentioned New Jerusalem. The New Jerusalem means, essentially, it's depicted in Revelation that after all is devastated, the New Jerusalem descends into the earth plane. Well, Jerusalem symbolizing the presence of God. In Jerusalem, you have the temple to God, Solomon's temple, channeled by King David and eventually manifested by Solomon. But you have the New Jerusalem. What that means is that which was, watch this carefully, that which was theory up here in your upper centers, the New Jerusalem is said to be descending into the earth. Look. What happens is all that was once theoretical starts becoming integrated into your being. It's no longer a human theorizing about God, fearing God, wanting God, longing for God. The New Jerusalem is welcomed into our heart and soul. And one of you asked about broken promises. That is stuff of this world. It's very sad. Instead of looking at people who broke promises, remember, they're broken people. How could they not break promises? That's what broken does. They might portray that they're not broken. That surprised you. How could they break promises? When I thought that they were, well, you were mistaken. So don't just talk about how they did or didn't do. Talk about how you thought that they were here and they were actually here. And you might say, I'll never fall for that again. Ah, that's the reactive you talking. Oops is better. Oops, my bad. And what can I learn from that? Well, I can see where I put, this is just one theory, I put so much in them being something that couldn't fail that it was destined to fail. You see, look for the lessons you might gain from this. Take a few centering breaths, please. Look at how we integrated the words that were requested, like following spirit with faith. Look at how that's there in the talk. Divine law versus man's law. It's all there. Intention, setting intention is not the highest. That's God's way of doing things. I'm made in God's image and now I set intentions. You're inventing, not intenting. The only way you can set healthy intention is to align with God and then simply look forward and see that which aligns with peace, love, joy is all I care about. That's how you set intention. True intention. If it's of you, it's an invention. If it's of God, it's an intention. When God said, let there be light, there was light. There wasn't maybe, there was light. In my I am, when I know who I am and I set an intention, my I am goes all the way through to the point of manifestation. Proper mirroring a healthy thing. When I'm off, the world looks off. When we're off, the world looks off. And even now, times of more and more growing war, most people watching a program like this would say, yes, let's pray for them. There is no them. Heal conflict within yourself and then affirm it for others. That's how you bring it to them. If you don't have it in you, how can you manifest it or bring it? Heavenly Father, Mother God, it's so easy for me to see this person that seems devout, seems set on growing spiritually. I can see the contrast of the old me, the broken me. But now I see this more evolving person, and I'm very grateful that I made it to this place. But I also realize that in me, there's a saboteur, a judge, an ego, one that's afraid, one that's still angry. I get it, I see it. Denying it will not bring it home and heal it. So, onto the altar in my heart, that part of me that forgot who I really am, I put that. The core part of me that first ever decided to believe my ego's opinion of me, I placed that on the altar in all its variations. My inner saboteur, my inner judge, those are all symptoms of me forgetting who I am. My amnesia, I place my amnesia on the altar. I place my willingness to give up who I really am. God, you created me in your image. I'm a part of you. It broke your heart for your children to manifest a belief that they could be something other than love. We are absolutely so sorry that we could break the heart of love. The good news is that in reality, none of this can happen. But for now, it's a dream. And we know that in a sense, metaphorically, it saddens you to see your children dragging on this drama of war, hurt, anger, retaliation, and so on. This is not your will. And it's not the will of our real selves either. So what do we pray for? Fix the symptoms or to remember our real selves? Because that solves it all. In this moment, Father, Mother, God, all conflict we see anywhere in the world, households or nations, we see it as a mirror of our belief to be in conflict, to feel conflicted between our divinity and humanness and whatever else. It's in here, in my soul. I struggle every day. I feed war just by not knowing what foods I want. I judge even foods. That's conflict. I'm sorry. all the foods of the world, be at peace. Please forgive me. Such a strange thing to place on food, cars, people, myself. Peace and be still and know the I am presence of God. Peace, everyone. Everything within my being. Peace, 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 peace. The peace that I am, I give to you. And knowing that that's activating in our being as a confident knowing, now extended to all our brothers and sisters. Any place of conflict in the world, nations, people, in the streets or in warfare, peace, peace, all my brothers and sisters. It's not a peace that we're telling them to receive from God that we won't receive for ourselves. We choose to receive it for ourselves and we extend it to our brothers and sisters. The peace that I am, I extend to you. And they may not act like they get it. Your job as an image of the Divine Mother is to hold the image anyway. They will get it. They are getting it. And on some level, they already did. The imagery, this too shall pass. Peace, 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 peace. Peace be with you isn't a hope, it's a reality. Peace, the peace of Christ, the peace of the Holy Spirit, the peace of God to you all and us all. For just a half a minute, imagine there's nothing in the world right now except the peace of God, which is joy, it's love, it's abundance. Just imagine it, everyone. Peace. With a smile on her face, imagine the Divine Mother putting her arms around the planet. Peace. And imagine all the angels ever created swooping down to surround the planet with love, their wings extended, bringing love joyously, not with effort nor fight, just holding that beautiful space. And if you listen, the mother is singing a lullaby to her children and the planet. The wings of the angels are flapping, creating a sound. And let that sound come from your heart and soul. Quietly, gently, whenever you're ready. Everybody in the world, soldiers are standing up and they're going, conflicted households, warring partners. Siblings, courtrooms. The lion and the lamb, predators, prey. See it so. How beautiful. See all beings throughout the universe, every being, darkest to lightest, grays to light beings, feeling this call. Nice, nice. The peace of God. This is what the mother has been asking us to do forever. She says, thank you. I can only mirror you. When you want conflict, I can only mirror that conflict. When you call peace on earth, you allow me to be who I really am. Gratitude, gratitude, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, God, thank you, angels, thank you, light beings, and thank you, all other beings, to being open to hearing and feeling this. There is no need to fight or struggle. We're home. And so it is. Gently, gently back into the room, to your body. Still hear and feel that. Hear and feel that in your vibrations, in your cells. Healthy intention means centering in God and then knowing what naturally comes from this. When you have to set an intention and work to make it happen, it's invention. It's doing, not being. Thank you. We're going to do our closing prayer. First, can anyone share, while they're stirring about, some of the ushers are getting things, can anyone share, what did you learn or hear today that made the most sense? Yes?
I have a great question. So I feel like I'm on that third stage of...
Like emptying out, you're in that stage?
It feels overwhelming. I feel like there's a heaviness in my heart where I don't know what to do or what to be. So, my question is, for surrendering, I hear the next step. But I feel like there's a gap of understanding how does that work, or is there any practical guidance?
Thank you. Sure. As best as I can for the limited time. So there's something, a gap, like you're going into surrender, but it feels like there's some piece that you would need to be able to properly get into this. First, remember an affirmation. I don't know, because you used those words a second ago. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm willing to find out. Remember, but I'm willing to find out. Remember, this too shall pass. But the sensation you're feeling of, like we'll call it resistance or discomfort, is the inner control freak that says, well, if I only knew what was, see? And you have to resist that. Like, grit your teeth a little, bite your nails if you have to, but it's, okay, fine. Okay? Yes, yes. Yes?
To hold our center, that despite what we're witnessing, especially right now, whether it's people collectively, to really hold that space for ourselves and others.
Holding your center despite the way things look, which, by the way, brings you to being the mother, the divine mother. You're accessing her by doing that very thing. You might think that accessing the mother means all of the issues are gone. You can't have them gone and to become the mother. You have to birth them into being gone by birthing the light following them, and that's how you become the manifestation of the Holy Spirit. Make sense? Yes? Respecting, this is where you are right now, and giving thanks, enjoying and giving thanks for the process. Not for the negatives, but for what you learned from them. You can't really give thanks to the negatives, you know why? Because they don't even really exist. But that's another conversation. Yes? Sabotage is self-loathing. Self-sabotage is self-loathing. And you can argue it. You can say, well, now, Michael, wait. You have one other option. It's either self-worth or it's self-loathing. Does it make any sense to go, self-sabotage is clearly an expression of my self-worth? That doesn't even sound sane at all. Like a 5-year-old could get that. Why would you as an adult think, no, I don't agree? Self-sabotage is the part of you that still hates yourself or is hurt or angry. It's a self-loathing. You won't screw up your life when you're loving yourself. When you sabotage your life, something's off. Don't judge yourself for it. See it, go oops, and work it. Get back to a different state of mind. Yes?
I guess taking all the horizontal pieces of my life and turning them into a vertical view.
Yeah, take all the horizontal pieces, including with the things you think are great and good, spiritual growth. They still have to become vertical, meaning I assemble them into what works for me. I dated this person, this person, this person, so on and so on. I get it. But what did you learn from it? As soon as you do that, all of these people start to become you becoming vertical. And also, what did you like about them? Not just what did you learn. I really liked, this person taught me about prosperity. This person taught me about passion. This person taught me about taking better care of my health. Those are me. It's not them. Don't give the power in all those people you dated. I wish I had them. No, I do. It's right here. Me becoming the best of everyone I've ever seen becomes me a better person. Own it for yourself. Way back, yep.
I would think it was come down to what you were talking about, resonance. And when you have, what's the opposite of that is dissonance.
Right.
So when you have that cognitive dissonance of not acting in alignment, then
Right.
yeah, it's just, to me, it
Yeah.
comes down to that
Learning the difference, resonance, dissonance, but don't think one is good and one's bad. The dissonance is showing me what I can learn so I come back. The resonance I'll give thanks for. And even resonance isn't the answer per se. Resonance shows me the gifts of being aligned. It's my alignment that's even more important than the actual resonance. I am is more important than intention and resonance and all these other concepts. The I am is what I'm really looking for. But to get there, say goodbye to dissonance. Thank you for what you learned. Say hello and thank you to resonance that you've created in your life. And onwards and upwards, yes.
When we were doing the humming, I really felt like this energy was going into Earth,
Nice.
and I could feel it coming up all around the planet as almost like heat waves off the pavement,
Nice.
coming into every living entity.
Right. She could viscerally feel the whole meditation, that there was a shifting happening in the planet. And I assure you there was. I'm not the type to go, oh, here's a nice visualization. Let's pretend the earth is lit with gold. Hell no. That's not me at all. I'm like, boom, let's go. Let's do something that's actually working. That's me.
And the time was 11:11 when we started.
Pardon?
The time was 11:11 when we started
Oh.
humming.
Well, we started humming at 11:11. Nice. There's a conference coming up related to that. Look for the flyers. It's going to be very cool. Yes?
Sort of in line what they were saying is that if it's of me, it's invention, and it's horizontal.
It's of you. If it's still of you, it's still invention, not intention. It's still horizontal. Right. God, take me vertical, which is kind of like saying, beam me up, Scotty. Okay? All right. Please, we're going to take our collection, share generously as possible. We appreciate that. Really understand your prosperity level is a mirror of your consciousness, and I'm affirming abundance in myself and all. And I know this to be true, and that determines how much I share here and elsewhere, my prosperity. Paying something in line, paying something forward for somebody in a grocery store, giving a donation here. I am that I am, and I am filled with love and abundance. Therefore, I share love and abundance. And that's this gift that I'm sharing here now. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Thank you, thank you. When you know who you are, what to do starts to look very organic, very natural. You see? When you know who you are. There are people that if you right now imagine that you know who you are, there are people you would not have dated that you've dated. You'd be like, what? It seems surreal. It's supposed to seem surreal. because it's not so real. You know, you weren't coming from God, so what were you thinking? I must have been out of my mind. You were. You were out of your God mind. But did you learn from it? Yes. I wish I hadn't learned so hard. I know, I'm sorry. But did you get it? Yes. Would you repeat it? No, that's when you know you really got it. No, I would not do that. Okay, cool. Now where would you like to go? Really? Anything? Yes. Where would you like to go? Love and self-worth? Is that okay? I'm pretty sure. Love and self-worth. Now my life starts to mirror it. Oh my God, my wardrobe started changing. You know, it's like, wow, I feel different. What I do changes. How I feel, how I think, how I move. I'm becoming more plugged into my divine self, and that changes what I do because I'm changing who I am. Very organic, very beautiful. You'll still have breakfast, you'll still have foods, you'll still have affections here and there. You'll still have income and not, taxes to pay. It's not the point. It's you're going to come from a different mindset where the world isn't taking from you. You're seeing what's really happening. This is a reflection of me. Ooh, that doesn't look so good. What do I need to change in here to make that alteration? Not how do I get them, those jerks, out of my life. It's, wow. Thank you. Adios. Right here, back to me. Changes everything. I pray that this has all made good sense. Please stand for our closing. Those of you who shared questions, I very much appreciate it. I know some of the specifics we miss sometimes because of time, but there you go. We covered as much as we can, and it feels really, really good. Holding a sense of gratitude. The Sundays, the friendships. Look at the workshops, the conferences, music, movement, playfulness. Nice. And in a few weeks, we're going to have our annual intensive on Thanksgiving weekend on awakening Christ consciousness. Join us. If enough of you call and or commit, do that soon, because if there's enough of you, we will do the workshop in this room all 3 days. Otherwise, it'll be done online. But if you get committed, I will. Let us know. The light of God surrounds us. We are the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. We are the love of God. The power of God protects us. We are the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. We are the presence of God. Wherever we go, God is, I am, we are, and so it is. Peace be with you all. Bye-bye. Thanks.